I'm about to take a trip down memory lane. Time really flies. It seems like yesterday. Got a fly rod for my 13th birthday in 1970. On April 1st was the first time I'd ever fly fished in my life. I've been watching American sportsmen for years, and Lee Wolf and Gadabout Gaddis, the whole crew. All I wanted to do was fly fish. And back then, the only thing you really fly fish for was trout. Luckily, I lived within a mile or two of a trout stream. I could ride my bike there every day. So April 1st, I went down and gave it a try. I got to tell you, the creek was high. There was snow on the banks. There was no way I was going to catch a fish. In fact, I didn't catch a fish for another year. But about 2 weeks into April that year, I'd been going almost every day. I saw something that I'd never seen before, caught me. It really pulled me in. Little sailboats on top of the water. The Hendricksons had arrived. I didn't know they were Hendricksons. I didn't even know what a mayfly was. All I knew is it was magic. There was flies all over them. They were drifting down the water, and with young eyes I could see them 100 feet away. And trout were rising to them. I didn't know much at that time, but I was looking at something that only occurred probably twice every 5 years. It doesn't happen often because of the weather, because of runoffs, because of other things. Trout don't always rise to Hendricksons. But every once in a while, you get a magic year, a real magic year, where everything comes together. Clean water, sunshine, nice warm weather, and flies come off in droves, and the fish come up to greet them. Once that happens, there's no turning back. No turning back at all. Even though I didn't catch a fish that year, I became obsessed. I went just about every day on my bike, and it was lucky enough that my father knew a fly fisherman in work who knew somebody in my neighborhood, Lynn Holt, great man, great teacher, who took me under his wing that winter and taught me how to tie flies. And so began a second obsession in my life, tying flies. The funny thing about tying flies is it changes over time. It's changed a lot. Back then it was the finding the perfect piece of vixen urine-stained underbelly fox fur. Yeah, you heard me right. Everybody was trying to get a piece of that. That's what you had to use to match the Hendrickson color. What a bunch of... Anyway, we'll move on from that. You can catch Hendricksons on an Adams. I found that out much later on in life, but, you know, it doesn't matter because it's all part of learning. And it really did all start with the Hendricksons, and it always does. You see, every year, those flies come off, whether you're there to see them or whether you're not. No matter how high the water is, no matter what the temperatures are, I mean, there are some limitations, but they always come off. And that's what signifies the passage of spring, at least for me, at least for trout fishermen, because that's what you're looking for. If the Hendricksons are there, there's going to be trout. They may not rise, but that's for other reasons. But as long as the Hendricksons come off, there'll be trout. They're the canary in the coal mine. And unfortunately, I make sure I go back every year and to take a look because the way the things are with the environment. It's always good to know, it's always good to have that sign that everything's going to be okay. And with me, that's what the Hendricksons signify. It's a beautiful thing to see. Get out there, take a look. Sometime between the second week in April and the first week in May, there'll be a hatch, big hatches. There'll be a lot of Hendricksons on the water. The trout might not come up, but the trout are there. And I'll be there too, because there's no better way to spend the day in spring than walking the stream bank, watching the Hendricksons come up, and hoping, sometimes beyond all hope, maybe a trout will rise.